So good morning, shalom, buenos dias, and welcome to this LinkedIn live event by Bayer. It's great to see so many people joining in from all over the world. I see people from Latin America, Australia, US, Asia, and Europe calling in. A big and warm welcome to all of you. My name is Hugo. I'm the Managing Director of Bayer Israel, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour, and I believe we have a great hour ahead of us. So during the next 60 minutes, you will get to learn more about Bayer's G4A program, meet some representatives from some highly innovative and exciting Israeli companies who has worked with Bayer and G4A in the past, and learn more about the Israeli innovation ecosystem. So first, why do we do this kind of meeting? What is it we want to achieve? Short answer, collaboration. Bayer is constantly looking for innovative, creative, agile startups and companies who would be interested in collaborating with us. And one way of facilitating this collaboration is through G4A. And during today's session, you'll hopefully learn more about what G4A is all about. And who knows, maybe our next collaboration partner is listening in on this event to that. With that being said, I would like to introduce you to our speakers today. With us today is Mike Devoy, Chief Medical Officer, Head of Medical Affairs and Pharmacovigilance in Bayer. Karina Rubinstein is jumping in on a very late notice for a person who unfortunately had to hand in a sick leave. But Karina Rubinstein is Senior Director of Business Development at the Israeli Innovation Authority. We have Michal Meiri, the CEO of Agamon, Yossi Bahagon, co-founder and chairman of Sweetch, and Dominic Henderson, which is the global head of G4A. So to all of you listening online, please take the opportunity to interact with us, give us feedback, use the keyboard to punch in some comments online. We would really appreciate that. And if you don't mind, also ask us some questions. I cannot guarantee you that we will be able to address all of them, but we will try our very much our best during the next 55 minutes. So another company that has been selected program finalist by G4A is Sweetch, a company that has identified and recognized and created a solution for the following. So approximately half of the adult population in developed countries have some sort of chronic disease. But few of us, unfortunately, are adhering to treatment protocols. We're not following disease prevention protocols. And this is what Sweetch has done successfully something about. They have turned this challenge into an opportunity. They have developed a clinically validated platform that utilizes artificial intelligence, both to increase adherence and for us to follow health programs, disease prevention, and disease management recommendations. So Sweetch, the floor is yours. Yossi Bahagon, the co-founder and chairman of Sweetch, the word is yours.
Thank you, Hugo, and thank you the entire Bayer team, not only for the opportunity to present, but also for the mutual journey going through the selection process and now moving into the commercial discussions. It's been not only a pleasure personally, but also a very educating journey for us as a company. As you mentioned, what Sweetch targets is increasing the likelihood of the patient doing what he or she needs to do. You know, we have a long list, an average chronic patient have a long list of assignments, but sometimes we forget that the patient is not a walking disease. You know, these patients have lives. They care about their quality of life. So if we really want to touch them in a way that will create a long-term and sustainable disease management optimization, we need to think from the patient's eyes and what will drive this patient to action and how to do it in a way that will be like your guardian angel, a system that will be beside you to support you at times where you are doing great, but also at times when you are challenged. In short, we are living in a world where the word vaccine is very strong one. Essentially, what Sweetch developed is a digital vaccine for chronic diseases. It's clinically validated, it's AI powered, it's proactive, it's super personalized, and because it's data driven, it's also scalable. So, as I said, we trigger behaviors through AI with focus on sustainable outcomes. Many of the patients that we touch don't have only one disease. 70% of the diabetic patients have also hypertension. So how do you look at the patient in a holistic way and tackle the interactions with the patients in a way that the overall reaction, whether it's medication adherence or weight management or activity or remote monitoring, will all be seen in a holistic way. We are living in an era where, data, more and more data is coming in. And this is how, remote patient monitoring current output looks like. Number of steps, what's your heart rate, what's your glucose levels, and so on. But what is missing is what is my specific recommendations. Think about all this data coming in. Think about you would have a, Waze or any other transportation navigation system. You would want to go from point A to point B, and the system will only tell you the distance. Will only tell you in our health equivalent, you need to walk 10,000 steps a day. So similar to Waze, Sweetch is a personal navigation system. It takes real-time monitoring, add to it your personalized goals, preferences, life habits, and then it creates a personalized journey for you specifically. How do we do that? We collect data from the patient's smartphone and other connected devices. Without asking the patient any questions, we understand the patient's context, where you live, where you work, how do you commute from work to home, what are your favorite coffee shops, are you a heavy shopper, are you an early bird, are you a night owl, and so on. And based on the understanding of the patient's life habits, or the way we like to call it, the patient life print, because each and every one of us have this unique life print. There are repeatable patterns in our life, and then we are able to move from a generic, hey, you need to walk 10,000 steps a day, to a highly contextual message like the following. Good morning, Lara. You have 45 minutes before your next meeting. It's raining outside, so take an umbrella and go pick up a cappuccino from Lion Coffee Roasters at 4 Everton Park. It's only 9 minutes away. You will feel more vivid and achieve your 19-minute activity goal. Everything in this message was created automatically, from understanding Lara's whereabouts, to her availability, to her surroundings, to what will be the goal that will be achievable and yet challenging. And the same principle of contextualization follows in every interaction with the patient. Instead of telling the patient, hey, you need to walk 10,000, you need to measure your glucose now out of the blue, the type of messages that Sweetch sends is, hi, Brian, hungry? We notice you just entered Route 57 restaurant. How about taking 30 seconds to measure your glucose? Take care of your body, and it will take care of you. Essentially, Sweetch, what Sweetch does, it's learning the patient's past behavior and current context and translating it into real-time recommendation, which has a higher chances that the patient will indeed follow. And likewise, with other examples, like recommending a specific walk based on a specific glucose level, or hi Mary, good morning, we didn't want to disturb you while driving, it's time for your Saxenda. So understanding the patient context in order to increase adherence, and similarly with regards to weight management and patient-reported outcomes. From a clinical perspective, the first clinical trial was done by Johns Hopkins in a pre-diabetic population without any human intervention. The system achieved 86% patient retention rate, clinically and statistically significant A1C reduction, weight loss, increase in physical activity, and actually almost 23% of these patients reversed their diabetic state and returned to normal A1C levels. Now think what such a system with such a high scalability from one hand and such a high personalization from the other hand could do on a global level for the 450 million people suffering from diabetes. While we started our journey from the diabetes management and diabetes prevention, the same principle of just-in-time adaptive intervention, sense and collect data, analyze it in real time, engage and optimize the engagement with the patient on an ongoing basis, is now deployed in other disease domains like cardiovascular, autoimmune diseases, and oncology. Again, it's all about looking at the world from the patient eyes. It's the experience focused on you and then making the outstanding user experience being translated into improved outcomes. Just to close with the further clinical evidence that we are collecting, and this is also an opportunity to say thank you for the Israeli Innovation Authority, which also supported us all along the way from the first year to the to last year. We just got a grant from the NIH together with Johns Hopkins to conduct the first ever prospective randomized control trial that will compare Sweetch fully automated intervention with the gold standard, which is a CDC approved intervention. On the more strategic level, we are creating a new layer of data, behavioral data that obviously we all understand that has huge impact on disease outcomes. Thank you everyone for the attention and the time, and again for Bayer for providing this amazing opportunity to present and to collaborate with them.
Yossi, an amazing presentation. Thank you so much. And wow, what a data. You know, I'm going to park my questions because we got a question online that I really think that you would be able to address. So if you very shortly, because I know it can take a long time to address this one, but we got a question from Katie Buckingham online asking us, so isn't access to these healthcare apps as much an issue as the availability, especially in populations that suffer chronic health, older and underprivileged patients? How can this be addressed by companies that developing them? So I guess I'm giving you a challenge here, Yossi. I guess this is constantly on your mind. How do we ensure to include everyone?
So I want to tell you a secret. You know, most of the chronic patients, and it's just, I fully agree with the question. Most of the chronic patients, guess what? They do not use Fitbit to track their activity. That's part of the issue. That if you jog 3 times a week and you go to the gym, you automatically reduce your risk for chronic diseases. So indeed, when having these patients in mind, you need to think about patients that are 55 and older, that are not necessarily tech savvy, and that are also so from a socioeconomic perspective, they are not necessarily, the ones standing to buy the latest Apple device when it comes out. That's why Sweetch collects the data from the lowest common denominator. So it's the patient's smartphone. Today, smartphones are available, for almost everyone. And We don't need wearables to collect the data. We don't need special sensors to collect the data. Most of the data is collected from, this extension of our body. So that's, and in practical, if you look at the Hopkins trial, the average age of the patients there were 57 and from a low to medium socioeconomic state. So great question, and it is indeed on our mind.
Thank you so much. Great question and great answer. Again, Yossi, thank you so much. Looking forward to our future collaboration going forward, and I wish you and the team the very best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we will be moving.